So I actually had a viewer comment on my last video, which exciting for me, by the way. That's my first comment I've ever had on like a YouTube video, so thank you. They were asking, as a non-American, how do you query in the American system to American literary agents? And it's the same process as a non-American to query an American literary agency. I've queried some UK agencies as well as the US. Here's the concise steps. 1, finish your manuscript. Finish the work in progress that you have. At least go through it once with your own eyes to make sure you've edited it and it's ready to go. At least once. I personally didn't do beta readers. I didn't do professional editor. I didn't do any of that stuff. I was like, let's query, let's get it out there. Let's see if I can get a full first. Number 2, when you've finished it, you need to develop a query letter. I do readz.com is where I got an example, or there's plenty of people on TikTok that have example query letters you can use. If you Google query letter templates, you can find tons on there as well. 3 is develop a synopsis. I didn't know how to do this at first, so I again had to get a template. You're going to have to give away spoilers, and it's going to hurt, but you have to do this so that the literary agent can see all the nitty-gritty of your book and if it can sell. Number 4, you want to Google literary agents in your genre. It can be hard to pinpoint your genre down at first, but you kind of learn this as you go. My intention was to write a psychological thriller, and because I included romance elements in it, I was like, maybe this is a psychological thriller with a subgenre of romance. And so I looked up literary agents that were romance thriller genres, as well as psychological thriller people who also accepted romance. But Google those people. You can also check in Query Tracker, which I'll put a little thing in here of what Query Tracker looks like. It's free. Step 5, you want to go to the literary agent's website and check their bio, check their manuscript wish list, see if they really do match what your book is. I'll tell you right off the bat, if you query a literary agent with a genre they don't represent at the time, it's going to be an automatic rejection. It's going to hurt your feelings. It's going to waste their time. Just don't do it. If they end up matching what you need them to, they sound like a good fit for you, then you will look at the submission guidelines on their website. Now, this will tell you what they need in order to submit and how you submit to them. And you can also look at the other literary agents that are a part of that agency to see if maybe one of them is a better fit that you didn't find on Google. And quite a few times I've went to look for a literary agent and queried someone else at that agency, and that's okay. A side note, make sure you only query one literary agent at an agency per time. They normally don't accept multiples, but if they do, it'll say it on the website. And there are certain literary agencies where if you query one, they say it's querying them all, because that literary agent, if they think your work is a good fit, they'll forward it to someone else at the agency. So a no from one is a no from all, and then you can't submit for that specific project back to them. So keep those things in mind. But you'll want to look at their submission guidelines. Some want a synopsis, a query letter, a pitch, a bio about yourself, and like 20 sample pages, 50 sample pages, 10 sample pages. It really depends and it varies. I've had some, they only want 5 sample pages and a query letter. Some just want a query letter. So definitely make sure you read each site. The next step is to go ahead and submit to them. So if they want it submitted by email, then all you'll have to do is email the email that they give on their website. Make sure you don't send any attachments. They won't open attachments. You get a rejection or you'll just get ghosted. So when you're sending the sample, synopsis, or whatever they require, send it all in the body of the email. And then make sure in the subject line, put what they want you to say. So like, for example, mine is Deadly Dreams, and I could be attention to the literary agent I'm querying. That's the best thing to do. Now, if they are saying they need you to query through Query Manager, Best thing to do is to get Query Tracker. It's free. They have a premium version for $25 a year, which I personally think is worth it. For the free version, you can only have one project on there and query that project. And then if you need another one, say you want to query your second novel, you'll have to get premium, but it's not a super expense. But if they want you to submit through Query Manager, submit through the form, you will go through that through Query Tracker. Now, the ones I see normally want the pitch, the bio, the synopsis, the sample pages. So make sure you have all of that ready, and make sure you don't just click and go, click and go, click and go. You want to try and personalize each one. Address the agent you're talking to at each agency. I always try and put a little personalization in there to each agency I'm querying so they know, hey, I'm trying to pay attention, I'm trying to research and do my best and show you that I am interested in you, and I'm not just out there trying to get money, trying to get my book published and being a robot about it. So just a tip there. Finally, my last tip is query in batches. So if you want to query, I'd say query 20 to 25 literary agents at one time, and then wait until the end of the close no response time. So close no response is normally CNR. This is when they say, okay, we'll give 12 weeks to review your work. If you don't hear from us by 12 weeks, on week 13, it's close no response. It means we're not interested in your project. So a lot of literary agencies don't respond back and they don't reject you, so it's just a black void. It sucks, but I get it. It's also a competitive industry. They can't respond to everyone. So make sure you keep note of when the close no responses are so that you know when you can send out your second query. I recommend querying your first batch and then waiting 3 to 4 months and then querying your second batch. Now, if you do 2 batches and you've queried 50 literary agents, you've gotten rejections or closed no responses, you've gotten no fulls. I highly recommend you get your query letter looked at. That's my plan. I know they say if 50 to 100 literary agents don't request anything, then there may be something wrong with your sample that's really turning them off, or more likely there's something wrong with your query letter. So I would definitely get that looked at, professionally looked at, and see what's going on, what maybe could be turning them off. And then try again in batch 3. Give it another 3 to 4 months, query out, keep track of everything. But yeah, as a non-American applying to literary agents for representation in America, UK, Canada, wherever, just do that process. I hope this helps. It's a frustrating process. It's a long process. Hang in there. I've seen several authors on Twitter and things like that, and some become bestsellers 13 years after they wrote the novel. It's a long game. Don't play it for the short game. You got this.